All right, so we're gonna actually review my Aria performance, and this kind of just shows the entire master study cycle in full loop. So I would kind of listen to it, and then I practice and listen in combination between the two, and then I recorded it a few times actually before I actually uploaded, and then I actually uploaded. Um, some things that I learned a lot actually. Really one basic thing that I learned. One sec, my dogs are going ham right now. But something that I learned and something that like, take away hugely is I don't have to use vibrato to sound pretty when I already sound pretty. I feel like my tone itself is very strong on its own. I don't think it needs a vibrato all the time. And even listening to Otis Murphy playing it, he doesn't. It's not that his vibratos are very consistent; it's that he knows when to use it. He uses it very musically, not to make himself sound pretty. So we're actually going to go in and that's just my major takeaway. There's a lot of other takeaways through this, and I'm just going to kind of go in, dive in, and actually just talk about those things, review, and then you guys will see me probably in the next 2 days with the next master study. So let's do this. So something that I did there that it's not that I don't necessarily, oh, I don't like it. And the reason I don't like it is because I didn't make it to the end of the phrase. So 2, 3, 1. That's where I want. So I really wanted to get to the end of that. I don't think I fully made it. 2, 3. Yeah. So we don't quite make it to beat one. I want to complete my phrases. And part of that is breathing and playing my breath marks. I believe that in the third measure, because I actually went and bought the piece of music, um, that there is a breath mark that I did not use. And that was a huge issue that I had. Even like while I was practicing, I was not using my breath marks, and breath marks are really there. I can play them, I can use them musically, obviously, but I can also just use them as it's literally a break. I should be taking those in and then playing so I can make it to the end of that phrase. So I'm gonna put that in notes. Complete the phrases, and under that we write breath marks. Keep playing. So right now, I'm like there. I played it. Slow down a little bit. Wasn't meant to. So there, I was out of breath, and that's also due in part to the birthmarks. Something that I really enjoyed that I did here, as I was listening to Ernest Murphy perform this, was that he used these grace notes. He used the grace notes in context of what was actually happening. So you'll notice that so I really try to beat the measure with these grace notes. So before the measure, that's where I try to play my grace notes. But then I get to this. Right, and so I actually drag that grace note. I almost make it kind of part of the measure there. I actually wanted to use that as an advantage to me and for my understanding of the piece, and I feel like it actually sounded really nice overall. Um, put your input on it, but I think that sounds amazing. I think I did a really good job on that, in my opinion. So that was a and I'm actually gonna have to write this down now. So use vibrato wisely. Vibrato is a very powerful thing that a musician can do and a singer can do, I believe. I'm gonna say we use vibrato wisely. I feel like it's something that can make it sound very pretty. If it's overused, it sounds lame. It sounds bland, in my opinion. And I feel like I definitely overuse it. I feel like I definitely abuse my vibrato. In that last part, I could have simply played that straight note and used my tone instead, push that note to the end. But instead, I decided to use my vibrato, and I feel like it actually punished me a little bit here. If I was, so it doesn't sound that bad there. Okay, I didn't rewind it far enough, but there's a point where you can actually hear a real tonal difference. I feel like if I just like sometimes, and I'm probably gonna go in the music and actually write it, and that's what I should have been doing this entire time. But using the vibrato wisely will actually make my piece and my performances sound a lot better. So I definitely wrote that down as a note. That's good. Okay. Yeah, that's use a metronome. Which I did use a metronome while I was practicing. I just don't think I paid attention to it then because that's interesting that I did that. It probably was because I saw the breath mark. I decided to breathe and then missed the beat, and that's okay. That type of stuff will happen. It's my first master study, so mistakes like that will happen. I do want to rewind that a little bit. So I wish I would have. So that was there was a cadenza at that point in time that I was using to try to be really dramatic and push myself back into that next part of the next part of the piece. I try to write it up as like it's not necessarily a poem, but there's two parts of the piece or three different parts of the pieces that are happening. And I tried to and to use these cadenzas to try to dramatize what's happening there. And I feel like I didn't really use that cadenza the way I wanted it to. And that's something that I can write there too. Let's keep going. I don't hate that, but I wish I did that differently. Make that phrase. Make it. It's okay. It's okay. So that's part of me getting tired. You'll hear there's a huge difference there. I feel like that sounded really pretty at first, but then I got tired and it just sounded tense and really just at the end. I want to hear that one more time. Just yeah, that sounded really pretty in the beginning. So, what I was working on, and this was something that I kind of told myself as I was listening to Otis Murphy, and then I heard myself play these dynamic changes, is that I would overplay dynamic changes. Dynamics, when you're a soloist, you play them in context of what you played before. So, typically, when you're in a group, there's a dynamic marking. Everyone needs to be playing that dynamic marking, of course, within the sound pyramid based on what instrument you're playing in that ensemble. When you're a soloist, you play it based on what you were playing earlier. So my piano, for as a soloist, sounds different than my piano when I'm with one ensemble versus another ensemble. That's just gonna sound different. And what I was doing before I even started actually like really studying the music is I would play my fortes as if I was part of the group. That's not the case. I don't need to be blasting while I'm a soloist. That doesn't need to happen. If my piano wasn't like if my piano was like almost a mezzo forte as a soloist, I don't need to be super duper loud. I just need to be a little bit louder than I was earlier. That's all that needs to happen. There's nothing more, nothing less. So I'm happy with the fact that I didn't overplay there. I'm unhappy with my tiredness, and I think that just comes in with the territory of practicing and also probably taking some breath exercises within my warm ups. Yeah, and there it goes again. Yeah, I'm just so tired. So tired at the end. But that E, I drilled that the ending of that so much. I literally would like drone that the ending note so much because I wanted. My first goal was to make sure that it could last. I wanted to be able to make it the 6 beats. That's what I did want to do, and then I wanted to see if I could decrescendo. The audio on this camera that we were using wasn't the greatest, so you don't get to hear that decrescendo. It was there. It was there. It happened. If you were alive, if you were there for that, it was there. I promise. Either way it goes, I would say that I've got some pretty good notes here. I've learned a lot from this actually, and I can take a lot from this. I'm actually starting to manifest a physical repertoire here, so that I actually have all the music that I've worked on and actually can go back and play it. I'm really happy with how this started out. I think that this was a very pretty okay performance to start out with, and that's perfectly fine because that means that from here I just get to look back at this and only grow. I can only get better from here. Um, so that's the end of this. I will be back with another master study, probably within the next 2 days. So expect Monday or Sunday for me to come up with the next piece that I'm doing, and then over time, the performance and the review will happen. Thank you for all your support. See you guys in the next one. Let's get better together.